a skunk. They came down to the lake to have their morning drink. Surprisingly, the turtle was first. Must have got a head start this morning. They were about to take a drink, but the turtle said, "Slow down, everybody. Something smells funny." They all turned to look at the skunk. The skunk shook her head. She said, wasn't me, I promise. I think it's the lake. So they sniffed the water, pinched their noses, and shouted, "Be you!" The firefly jumped up. "That's you there with the wings." And she said, I think I know this smell. This smells like the serpent's poison. She caught me once and tried to make me drink it, but I was able to fly away. What are we gonna do?" But that's when the dog, not the fawn, the dog said, "Bark." That was dog 4. "I know what to do, follow me." So they followed the dog into Mirkwood Forest. Now, Mirkwood Forest is full of surprises. There's really low branches you have to duck down underneath. Oh, even lower than that. Even lower. There we go. Now there's some giant spider webs too. Sometimes you run into them, you have to peel them off your face. Ugh, gross. And there's a field of wildflowers, and you can't just walk through the field of wildflowers, you have to frolic through it, of course. So they finally frolicked across the field of wildflowers and to the king's castle, where they knocked on the doors. And out came King Bruin and his woodland warrior. They were so awesome the animals fell to their knees. And the king said, "Oh, you don't have to do that for me. You may get up, but what brings you to the castle?" The animals jumped up and started waving their paws, saying, "Your Highness, we have horrible news. The serpent has poisoned our lake." When the knight heard this, he lifted his sword and roared with anger. The king said, "Stop that roaring, you nincompoop. That's not going to help. Well, you see this horn I've got around my neck. If I play a tune on it, in the hour of greatest need, I can summon the unicorn, and she can purify water with the touch of her horn." So the king took the horn and, are you ready? And the king began to play. The knights and the animals ran into the forest to look for the unicorn. They ran and looked up all the way up into the trees. She wasn't there, so they ran and looked down into the bushes. They looked under their right foot. They looked under their left foot. Over their right shoulder, over their left shoulder. Soon they were just spinning in circles. Faster and faster and faster they went until they were dizzy. Then they stumbled back to the king, who ran out of breath. He said, "Did you find her?" They shook their heads no. "Uh-oh," said the king. "If I can't summon the unicorn, I know some wise and powerful princesses atop Crystal Mountain. Perhaps they can help. This way." So they followed the king up to Crystal Mountain. They stopped at the foot of the mountain and they looked up all the way up and started the climb, grabbing onto the rocks, pulling themselves over crags and crevices. But the higher they climbed the mountain, the slipperier it got, and they started to slide. They slid all the way over to the right, all the way over to the left. They slipped backwards till they were dangling on the edge of a giant cliff, and they screamed! So loud we had to censor it out, or maybe they're not scared. Well, they continued on their journey up a spiraling staircase. Wouldn't you know, that was a good idea. But now they had traveled a week with nothing to drink. Their mouths were dry, their knees were wobbly, and they fell to the ground. I'm afraid this is it, the end of our story, with everyone dying of thirst, except for one skunk. She jumped up and ran up the last few steps to the princess's palace and knocked on the doors. The princesses came out. They took one look at the skunk, and the princesses screamed! The skunk said, wait, no, I gotta tell you something. But it was too late. The princesses were running down the mountain as fast as they could. Faster and faster they ran. The skunk chased after them. They ran down the spiraling staircase until... Oh, we got still more ways to go. The princesses froze. They saw their friends dying of thirst. So, they ran over and touched everyone on the head gently with their magic wand. And as they did, everyone's mouth was filled with a gulp of fresh spring water. And using your imagination, you can almost feel it. Everyone jumped to their feet and cheered, huzzah! And bubbles appeared too. Wow, the princess's magic creates bubbles. That's exciting. Well, those are really exquisitely small. Well, anyways, Queen Evenstar, Queen of the Bubbles, lifted her wand. The other one. and said, "What brings you here to the mountain? Why are you dying? Would you like some more bubbles?" Everyone fell to their knees and said, "No, your highness, we don't need any more bubbles. We need water. The serpent has poisoned our lake." She swished her other wand and said, "Don't worry, for if I whistle a tune just right in the hour of greatest need, I can summon the unicorn." So she took a deep breath and began to whistle. Everyone jumped up and ran down the mountain to look for the unicorn. They ran all the way over to the north, but she wasn't there, so they ran all the way over to the south. Then they ran to the east. They ran to the west. They went north by southeast, east by northwest, north south by east west, which isn't much of a direction at all. They ran all the way over here to the man in the front row on his cell phone and said, "Have you seen a unicorn?" No? Okay, you weren't paying attention anyway. They started running in circles, calling out, "Unicorn! Where are you?" But she was nowhere to be seen. So they gathered around the queen and hung their heads low, for they thought they were going to cry. But the princesses lifted their wands, and together they said, "Do not despair." Perhaps the unicorn is down at the lake, purifying the water as we speak. We must go down to meet her, because that is our only hope. They followed the queen and the princesses down the mountain into a very dark and ancient place known as the Enchanted Forest. And the forest is usually a wonderful place to be, but the trees have been drinking the serpent's poison through their roots. The trees grew so twisted together they blocked out the sun, so the princesses had to hold their wands aloft, and a soft golden glow shone through the darkness. They continued on their journey, but now the trees dropped prickers on the ground. They tiptoed over each thorn and thistle, and once in a while they'd step on a spike and jump 6 feet in the air. Don't forget to say, "Ow! Ah, my tootsies!" But soon they were too tired to hop. All they could do was drag their legs along the ground. Their knees wobbled until one by one they burst through the trees and saw it. Their lake. It was no more than an ugly, polluted puddle. They sat down by the water's edge and were so sad that day that they began to cry. Oh, go ahead. Big sobs. Let it all out. Everyone was miserable except the serpent and the troll. They thought this was funny. They said, "Oh, look, we did it. We've got them right where we want them. We just have to dunk their heads in the poison for them to drink it. The whole kingdom will be trolls like you, and maybe we'll finally have supper."